This bag of rice is $1.25, but this is also $1.25, or technically $2.50 if you count the cost of the freezer bags. So if you like the convenience of microwave rice but you hate the cost, today I'm going to be showing you how to make, freeze, and reheat your own rice for quick and easy dinners and sides. Dollar Tree is an excellent place to get rice. They sell a 2-pound bag of white rice. They even sell a 2-pound bag of brown rice. And at $1.25, it's even cheaper than Walmart. My local Walmart is charging $1.54 for the same size bag right now. Choose your pot based on how much rice you want to cook. A pot like this is good for cooking 1 to 2 cups of rice, but any more than that and you'll want to upsize to a wider vessel so you don't crowd your rice. Now I know people are passionate about whether or not you should wash rice before you cook it, but the only time I have ever had gummy or sticky rice was when I did wash it beforehand, so I'm just showing the method of making rice that has consistently worked for me. In my pot, I heat up about a 1/4 cup of oil over medium-high heat, and I added in 3 cups of white rice. Now, the bag of rice from the Dollar Tree makes around 5 to 6 cups of rice, so I ended up making it in 2 separate batches for the purpose of this video. I saute my dry rice in oil for around 3 minutes or so. It starts to smell a bit like popcorn, essentially, and for those of you who said that you don't have a sense of smell, the rice granules will turn an opaque white color and start to look golden brown. Add water in a 2-to-1 ratio depending on how much rice you're cooking. Since I used 3 cups of rice, I added 6 cups of water. Give it one final stir, allow it to come up to a boil, and then reduce your heat to low, cover with a lid, and allow it to simmer for 15 minutes. Then turn off the heat and allow the pot to sit undisturbed for 15 to 20 minutes. This is the steaming phase of the rice and it ensures that you have fluffy rice that isn't wet. And here is our finished rice. All that's left to do is fluff it with a fork or a spatula, and as you can see, it isn't sticky or gummy at all. Since I'm making this to be a freezer rice, I split my rice between a couple of dishes and put them in my freezer to chill for about an hour. And then using quart-size freezer bags, I added 2 cups of chilled rice to each bag and flattened them out for easy storage in the freezer. My 2-pound bag of rice made 20 cups, which made 10 bags. I'll be sharing recipes with this freezer rice in the coming weeks, but if you wanted to eat it as is, you could thaw it in the fridge overnight or on your counter for about an hour, and then I reheated it in the bag for 90 seconds just like the microwave rice. Today we're making a 5-minute fried rice. This involves no chopping, cutting, or prep work of any kind, and it can be made on days when you're struggling with your physical or mental health, or maybe you're just busy and need a quick dinner to get on the table for yourself or your family. You'll need prepared rice. This can be a store-bought rice like I'm showing here, or a bag of freezer rice that I showed in yesterday's video, which I thawed in the fridge overnight. I used a can of mixed vegetables. You can also use frozen mixed vegetables or any leftovers you have in your fridge or freezer. You can use any protein that you like. I'm using a can of chicken. And lastly, you'll need soy sauce or teriyaki sauce depending on your preference or what you already have. In a skillet over medium-high heat with 2 tablespoons of oil, heat it until the oil just starts to smoke. Add in your chilled rice and stir with a spatula or a spoon, breaking up any rice clumps as you do, and allow the rice to begin to heat through. Cook the rice on medium-high heat for 2 minutes, and then I added in my can of drained vegetables and my can of drained chicken. I allowed this to continue to saute for around 2 additional minutes until everything was heated through, and then I added in 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Continue to saute for about a minute more until the soy sauce has absorbed into the rice, and then this is ready to serve as is, but if you have a couple of additional minutes, let it sit and allow the rice to crisp up on the bottom for some added texture and flavor. Here is your fried rice ready to serve. This is totally optional, but if you want to serve it restaurant style with that dome shape, you just need to press it into a bowl and then invert it onto a plate. And if you want an additional side dish, these spring rolls that the Dollar Tree sells are fantastic and have great ingredients. They're especially great when you throw them in the air fryer for a few minutes. So this is a fantastic quick dinner option that serves 2 people for just $5, and that's if you had to purchase all of the ingredients I showed today. If you're using leftovers or what you already have, it can be even cheaper than that. It even costs just $6.25 if you decide to serve it with the spring rolls on the side. Last week I made a Cajun chicken Alfredo pasta, and while it was good, I knew it could be better, so today I upgraded it, and I present to you my better Cajun chicken Alfredo pasta. This is a $10 dinner to feed 4 people. I used penne pasta, chicken broth, but you can use bouillon if you have that instead, a bag of frozen pepper stir-fry mix, a block of cream cheese, a jar of Parmesan cheese, Cajun seasoning, and 2 bags of spicy chicken nuggets. In a large skillet or pot over medium-high heat, add 2 tablespoons of oil and then add in your frozen pepper stir-fry mix. You're going to saute this until all of the extra liquid from the frozen vegetables has evaporated off. Heat and time are your friend here. This usually takes me about 5 minutes or so. Remove your vegetables into a separate bowl, and in the same pot I added my carton of chicken broth, which was 4 cups. And here's where you can customize how spicy you want the dish to be. If you don't really like spicy, add 2 tablespoons of Cajun seasoning. I added 4 tablespoons of Cajun seasoning, and mine was quite spicy, so it's up to you how much you want to add. Then you'll add in a pound of penne pasta. Most boxes of pasta are 16 ounces, but the Dollar Tree boxes are 20 ounces, so you'll only add in about 3/4 of the box of pasta. Bring this mixture up to a boil, reduce your heat to low, cover with a lid, and allow it to simmer for 12 minutes, stopping to stir halfway through. Essentially, when you're making a one-pot pasta, you're kind of steaming the pasta, so there will be a point when the liquid is lower than the line of pasta, and that is okay. While my pasta was cooking, I cut all of my chicken nuggets into quarters and tossed them in a bit of Cajun seasoning, and then I stuck this in my air fryer for 10 minutes. You can also bake them in the oven if you prefer. At this point, the pasta was done cooking. As always, you want to taste a noodle to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. And then to this, I added half a block of cream cheese, which I cut into small cubes to allow it to melt easier. I stirred this in until it was almost completely melted, and then I added in my reserved pepper and onion stir-fry mix and half of my jar of Parmesan cheese. Gave this a good stir to coat, and then we are ready to plate everything up. All you have to do is plate up your pasta between 4 plates, top each plate with some of your Cajun chicken bites, and top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese for garnish. Now, I don't usually describe my taste test, but this one was worth describing. The crispy Cajun chicken bites were amazing. The vegetables still had a crunch to them, which you don't usually expect from frozen vegetables, but the pasta was creamy and spicy and so delicious. I definitely recommend trying this one. Now, I know it's not IKEA, but this Swedish meatball-inspired dinner cost just $7.50 to make, will feed 4 people, and everything came from the Dollar Tree. IKEA might be cheap, but I'm pretty sure even they can't feed 4 people for $7.50. You'll need a box of instant mashed potatoes, 2 bags of frozen asparagus, 2 bags of home-style meatballs, be sure not to get the Italian kind by accident, and a bag of brown gravy mix. Obviously, you don't have to use asparagus if your family doesn't like that. You can use any frozen vegetable of your choice, but what I wanted to show you here was how you can roast vegetables from frozen to elevate them significantly. All I do is take a glass baking dish and line it with my vegetables, breaking them apart as I do, and then you're going to drizzle them with a little bit of oil, season them to taste. I just added salt and pepper, and then roast them in a 400-degree oven on the bottom rack for 25 to 30 minutes, tossing halfway through. For the instant potatoes, the box calls for milk and butter, but you technically don't need that. You can make these with just water. I always add a little bit of extra water to help thin out the potatoes because I find them to be a little dry otherwise. So I heat up 5 cups of water and 1 teaspoon of salt on my stovetop. You don't need to heat this to a boil, just heat it until it's kind of steaming, and then it's ready to add the potatoes. Mix well to combine, cover with a lid, and set it aside to stay warm while we prepare the meatball. Add your packet of brown gravy mix into 2 cups of cold water, stir well with a fork or a whisk until fully dissolved. Then on your stovetop, add in both bags of your frozen meatballs into a pot along with your prepared gravy mix, and you're going to heat this over medium-high heat until the gravy mix is bubbling and thickened. The meatballs are already cooked, you just need to heat them through, and by the time the gravy is prepared, the meatballs will be heated up as well. By the time your potatoes and meatballs are ready, so is your asparagus, and here's what that looks like out of the oven, and we are now ready to plate everything up. I portioned my potatoes evenly between 4 plates. I used the back of a spoon to make a well for the meatballs to go in. Each plate will get 5 meatballs, and then you can distribute your gravy evenly between the plates and your asparagus, and then this is ready to serve. This is a very hearty dinner that is perfect for the meat and potato lovers in your household. I actually really loved the way that this turned out, and I plan to eat it for my lunches this week, so I moved mine over into meal prep containers so that you can see that this is also a great option for a grab-and-go lunch if you have access to a microwave. My channel has always been about accessibility more than it's been about cost, and one of the things is that some people may not have access to certain appliances. So when I stayed at a hotel that didn't have an oven, it was a unique challenge that some of you may face, and I wanted to adapt my chicken a la king dish to be a stovetop version. Now, the only difference is that without baking it, the biscuits don't get quite as brown on top, but they still bake all the way through, and this dish was still delicious. So here's how to make chicken a la king without needing an oven. Since the hotel didn't have a large mixing bowl, I split my biscuit mix between 2 smaller bowls, and I added about 3 tablespoons of water to each bowl and mixed well, and then I combined them into one bowl to make sure that they were consistently mixed. I'm actually using the cheese garlic flavor biscuit mix here because some of you mentioned that that would be delicious, and you were right. This is a great substitution. I'm using 1 can of mixed vegetables and 2 cans of chicken a la king, so the cost for this dinner was just $5. Since we don't have an oven, the most important thing is to make sure that your pot has a lid that fits it. I drained my vegetables and added those to the pot along with my 2 cans of chicken a la king. Working on medium to medium-high heat, allow the soup base to come up to a simmer, and just like in my original chicken a la king video, I daubed my biscuit dough on top. Since we won't be baking this, we're essentially going to be steaming the biscuits instead, so cover with a lid and reduce your heat to low and allow it to sit until the biscuits are cooked all the way through. You don't need to stir this or anything, just check the biscuits every once in a while until they're matte in texture on top and no longer sticky to the touch. For me, this took around 30 minutes. And it's as easy as that. Your no oven chicken a la king is ready to serve. We ended up eating this for breakfast yesterday morning. I know it's a strange choice for breakfast, but it's what I had left, so I made the best use of it.